Hey guys, Derek and
Paula here
from A Guy, a Girl, in a Camper Van. So today we have something a little bit different than our usual videos. A lot of you have commented that you really like it whenever we do cooking and food preparation in the van. But today we're going to talk about food, but it's not going to be cooked food. You see, today we're going to talk about a particular type of food that we've really been enjoying over the past month or so. And we've introduced a bunch of other people to it, and all of them have really liked it as well. So we figured if we like it, and all of our friends and family and coworkers like it too, chances are some of you will as well. So today, we're going to talk about a fruit called the pomelo. The Latin name for the pomelo is Citrus maxima, which is incredibly fitting because it happens to be the largest species within the citrus genus. Or in other words, this is the biggest friggin' citrus fruit in the entire world. And it also happens to be one of the original 4 non-hybrid citrus fruits. Any guesses what the other 3 are?
Orange?
Nope.
Lemon?
Nope.
Lime?
Nope.
Tangerine?
No. According to botanists, the original 4 citrus fruit are the pomelo, the mandarin, the citron, and the pepita. Every other citrus fruit that you've ever heard of is simply a hybrid, either natural or artificial, of 2 or more of these original 4. So for example, both the sweet orange and the bitter orange are believed to be naturally occurring hybrids of the pomelo and the mandarin. The lemon is then a further hybrid of the bitter orange and the citron. The grapefruit is a hybrid of the sweet orange and another pomelo. So in a way, it's kind of like 2 pomelos and an orange. The pepita is involved with a whole pile of other hybrids as well, but most are considered inedible, and the rest are fruits that I've just never heard of and would definitely mispronounce. So the pomelo comes from South or Southeast Asia, but they're available all around the world when they're in season, from November to about April, which means that chances are there's a whole pile of them available right now in your local grocery store as we speak. There's a number of varieties of pomelo, ranging in color from yellow to green, and with flesh of white to dark pink. The most common type that we've found are the honey pomelo, which typically come wrapped in plastic with a little ribbon for a handle, and one of these little fake leaves. We bought this one for $1.88 Canadian at Walmart, but we've seen them for as much as about $3 as well. So it's probably a good idea to shop around if you're able. So, why do we highly recommend that you give pomelos a try? Well, there's 2 reasons. First of all, with a nutritional profile similar to other citrus fruit, they are super good for you. They're incredibly low in fat, yet high in fiber, potassium, some B vitamins, and they've even got protein for those of you who are concerned about that sort of thing. Plus, just one of these fruit contains 6 times your daily recommended intake of vitamin C, depending on who you ask. Plus, they're incredibly filling and only about 230 calories for an entire fruit. Our second reason for recommending pomelos is honestly, these things are freaking delicious.
And they're a lot of fun to eat.
So now that we've hopefully convinced you to try the pomelo, let's talk a little bit about how you can eat them. Most people just eat them raw completely on their own. But other people will juice them or make them into a marmalade or add them to a salad. In Southeast Asia, where they're from, a lot of people actually eat them raw, but sprinkled with a little bit of salt. We've tried them that way, and it is surprisingly good, but we generally like them just completely on their own. We figured out what we think is the absolute best way to eat a pomelo, and that's what we're going to show you right now.
That's the only reason I'm sitting here. I want pomelo.
So for this method, all you need is the pomelo and a really sharp knife. First thing we're going to do is remove this outer packaging. So we're going to slice into that like so, and that simply peels right off.
Thank you.
Now we've just got this little plastic covering around it. And we're just going to cut that off the same way.
Thank you. Smells so good.
It does. It has a really citrusy smell.
Surprise.
Yeah, yeah, surprise. It does, though. It smells like a sweet citrus kind of smell already.
Yeah, I love the smell of it.
So you'll notice that it has a bit of a pointed top on it. And you can see here where the stem and the leaf used to be attached to. That's where we're going to start cutting. So we take our knife and we're literally just going to cut a bit of a cross in it, like this. So I cut down. And as you're cutting through it, it's got really thick skin and thick pith. That's the white part on the inside of the citrus fruit. But as you cut down, eventually you'll kind of feel where it gets a little bit hard. And that's where you stop. Then you just turn it a little bit. And now we're going to do the same thing again right here until you feel just that little bit of resistance. That's the actual flesh of the fruit. So now we've got that nice little cross on it. Now we're just going to carry those through all the way down to the bottom like that. All 4 of them. Really quick. Like that. There we go. So now we've got a nice cross all the way down on 4 sides. And it comes down to the bottom like that. So now, if we just take our 2 thumbs and we kind of push them in, we can push that apart, and now you can see all this white pith in there, and then right here is the actual fruit. And it doesn't matter if a little bit of the pith is still left on it, because we're not going to eat that skin anyway. So now we can just take our 2 thumbs and sort of slide them down in it like this and push that down. Okay? And then we're just going to do the same thing on the other 3 sides. There we go. So now this is the actual fruit. This is the part that we actually eat. And the way that we do that is by first sticking our fingers in here and kind of cracking it open. Goes without saying that you should have clean hands for this part.
It takes a little bit of force to pull it apart.
Yeah, it does. There we go. So, as luck would have it, this is actually a pink pomelo on the inside. We have never had a pink pomelo before. We've had, like 30 of these things?
Oh, easily.
And every single one of them has been incredibly white, maybe a slight yellow tinge to the flesh. The pink ones are apparently somewhat rare, and today, when we decided to make a video about it, we got one. I suspect they're going to be pretty much the same as what we're used to, but we'll find out in a second, I guess.
We sure will.
So, typically the honey pomelo has very tiny little seeds. This one being a pink one, it has slightly larger seeds, but still not the type of seeds that you'd be used to in like an orange or a tangerine or something like that. So, the way that you eat one of these guys is you peel apart one of the sections. And now you can kind of see here that the skin already kind of peels apart. It's this skin that you don't want to eat. It's really tough, it's hard to chew, and it's also really sour tasting. So it's best to just avoid it. But luckily, it peels off pretty easily. And so you can kind of separate it, and this flesh, this is the good stuff. This is what you want to be eating. And so you can see I just pulled it right off of there, and now I eat that.
Is it good?
That's really good.
The pink one is good?
It's similar to a grapefruit, but imagine a grapefruit that isn't sour at all. So I would say like a cross between a really sweet orange and a grapefruit, I guess. It's not juicy. Like, you don't have to worry. You can see as I'm pulling this apart, it doesn't run juice all down your hand. So it's not going to be juicy like an orange or a grapefruit is. But as you chew it, there is a lot of juice in there.
That is really yummy.
Yeah, it's very good. So you don't have to worry, if you're eating this, you don't have to worry about making a big mess. Typically, after I'm done eating one of these entire fruit, my hands are completely dry. If I were to eat a grapefruit or an orange of this size, I'd have it dripping all down me. And I'd have to go wash my hands afterwards, and that's just not a thing you have to worry about with this. So if you get one where the skin is a little bit tough and you can't get the flesh out, if you just kind of snap it in half like that, it sort of opens up the flesh, and then you can peel the skin off easy. And then it just kind of separates, sort of like this. And if you get a little bit of the skin, it's not the end of the world by any means, but it's definitely better if you can peel it off.
I don't like the side of the skin, but I don't mind some of the bottom part of the, what do you call it, pith? It just reminds me a bit of an orange. Like if that's on there, that doesn't really bother me to eat it.
So one of these, when you get them at a decent price, here where we are, they're about $1.88 Canadian. That may sound somewhat expensive for one piece of fruit, but the two of us can eat this as we can share it as a breakfast on the weekend. And during the week, lots of times we'll take one of these in to work, and we'll eat the whole thing ourselves, and it takes like an hour, 2 hours sometimes.
And sometimes I do half one day and half another day.
Well, there you go. So if you look at this as your breakfast, $1.88 for breakfast, and in Paula's case, that's 2 breakfasts. Not very often are you going to get something that is less than $1 per day for breakfast. And as we said before, it's incredibly nutritious, and it is actually surprisingly filling. Plus, the other thing that I really like about it is that it's kind of like eating like walnuts or some kind of nut that's in the shell. You have to work for it. So you feel like once you get down to the delicious flesh of it, you feel like you've really earned it. Plus, it takes you much longer, and if you're concerned about burning calories and stuff like that, you're actually burning calories while trying to get at the calories of the fruit. So only 230 calories for an entire fruit, but you've actually burnt calories in the process of getting it as well, so it decreases it even more. But because it takes some work and because it takes some time, your stomach actually has a chance to acknowledge the fact that you've put food in it. And so it has time to send those signals to your brain that you've actually eaten some food. And so you feel that feeling of fullness before you actually finish eating the fruit. Whereas a lot of times food these days is so easy to eat a ton of food really quickly and get a whole pile of calories in you before your brain even gets the signal that you're full. This is completely different than that. This, by the time you finish this, your brain has had ample opportunity to understand that, yeah, you've definitely eaten some food, you've put some food inside of you, and you feel that full feeling by the time you're done it. So it's much more satisfying than a lot of other foods that I would normally have for breakfast. I'm starting to feel a little bit bad eating all of this in front of you and talking with our mouths full. So hopefully we've convinced you that the pomelo is worth a shot. Definitely go down to your grocery store and give this a try. If you like grapefruit or you like oranges, there's a really good chance you're going to love this too. We definitely do. It's good for you, it's delicious, and it's kind of fun to eat. Pomelo.
Pomelo.
So for this method, all you need is